have a motion and we have a second, let's see. They're both on the committee. Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Anyone opposed to the motion indicate by saying nay. The ayes have it, the motion is approved. Item number 4, Lincoln Parish Library 2019 amended budget and the 2020 proposed budget. That is before you on the printed sheet. Any questions? Steve?
I just want to answer your questions. I don't
Okay.
need to talk. No.
All right, good. What questions might you have? Anyone might have
What you will
anyone
see
in our.
is basically from the amended budget to next year's budget, you're gonna see basically the same numbers. You're not gonna see a huge increase or decrease anywhere. You may ask me why there's a decrease in salaries and then an increase for next year. And that is because we lost our children's librarian, for several months. We didn't have anybody on staff. And then we also had lost a reference person that we have still not replaced. So, that's why you'll see that there's a decrease and then an increase.
Courtney, do we need to approve the proposed amended budget first?
Yes.
All right. Folks, let's discuss the 2019 proposed amended budget. It started out at, and has been lowered. All right, any questions about that?
We do have some people that are drawing unemployment. That's why the increase there.
Okay. For discussion's sake, we will entertain a motion to approve the proposed amended budget, and then we'll just take a second and we'll also discuss it.
Motion.
We have a
Second.
motion and we have a second. Discussion, questions, comments?
Bill, what you were saying about the unemployment?
Under salaries and wages, the drug testing and unemployment claims went from 4,000 to 11,000 proposed, amended there. That we have 3 people who are currently drawing unemployment, so that's why that is raised up.
Oh, okay.
So you let those 3 people go? That's the reason why they draw?
2 of them quit on their own and went to work somewhere else, and then for whatever reason, they're not employed there, but the unemployment comes back on us as the major, one, yeah,
Oh, they were unemployed from the other place.
exactly. So the
But it comes
unemployment
back-
goes back to how much they had made over the period of time that they were employed, and a lot of it came from us, so we have to pay.
I didn't know the unemployment.
Yes, unemployment can do that.
Mhm.
Certain period
It
of
can
time.
do
There's
that.
a certain,
It's not
there's
normal.
a certain length of time that you have to work at a second employer before they can't come back on the first employer with an unemployment
Okay.
And you've gotta do all the paperwork to keep it from happening.
All right, any other questions? Any other comments? Anyone? If you have no questions, we'll move into the voting. Are we ready for that?
So, I'm gonna ask the question.
Good, good.
Retirement, contributions, I see where the retirement contributions were higher than original.
That's
But
right.
you don't have those people, they're working, but why would we have the retirement going up?
It wouldn't probably be for those individuals,
No, that's correct, it's for other
other people.
That you have?
We moved more people into the full-time positions than what had originally been in the part-time. And the reason there's more in the part-time above there, from 157 to 198, that's because we hired, temporary workers for the summer area.
All right, any other questions? Any other comments? Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye
Aye.
on the committee. Those opposed to the motion indicate by saying nay. The ayes have it, that 2019 proposed amended budget is approved. Let's go to the 2020 proposed budget for next year. Questions or comments as you look down that list? Indication is that the salaries are gonna be a little higher because we're gonna replace some employees that,
And that also includes a 2.5% increase
okay,
in salaries and wages.
If we said,
And retirement went up from, was it 11% to 12.25%?
no, when you said replace some people, but
I'm sorry?
when you said replace some people,
We have replaced them now
They
already.
had vacant spots.
There's no vacant spots. Every spot is completely full right now.
Oh, so you've already replaced
We've already
them.
replaced them,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. And that's why they would get the 2.5, because you've already replaced them, so in 2020.
Exactly.
In 2020, they would automatically get it.
Right.
Okay.
There's a couple of them that won't because they just came on board this month, so they won't get the 2.5%.
okay?
But you're also going folks that were hourly paid versus salary.
Yes.
So they switched from coming out of the wages fund to going into the salary fund.
Mhm.
All right, we'll
Some did,
entertain a
yes.
motion to approve that, then a second, and then we'll have further discussion.
I make most that we approve the 20.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hunter, we have a motion and a second. As you look down 2020 proposed budget, questions might you have or comments might you have?
E-materials was budgeted at 85,000, and then adjusted to 105, and now the projected is 125?
Yes, I was about to tell you that. E-materials, the usage of them, people are demanding more and more and more. So they prefer the e-books as the electronic, books on tape, books on CD, recorded items, as opposed to a regular book. So you will see that that is increased to 125,000, where materials, regular materials is 100,000. Our total amount for materials complete is still 225,000. The formats have just changed. That's the only thing different there.
Okay.
All right, any other questions about the 2020 proposed budget? Any other comments?
Yeah, furniture and fixtures, you gotta replace some new equipment purchase or something.
I'm trying to figure out where you're at.
At the bottom.
Okay, got you.
Building operations.
I don't intend to purchase much there this year. It would be computers if we did. But I budgeted the same amount we had budgeted for last year, just for the sake of doing it.
From the original budget instead of the amended.
Right.
I see it, okay, I see it.
Right.
How many computers do you have?
68 public.
And they're used a lot, aren't they?
Oh, my goodness,
Yeah.
yes. We have people lined up to come in, and they walk away if the computers are down.
I have a question.
Good.
Yes, Caleb?
The library's millage goes back to a vote next year, is that right?
Yes.
So is the revenue for next year dependent on that, or does that not kick in until 2021?
No, it kicks in this year.
Okay, so this
You'll
is
see,
just,
if you look down under the ad valorem taxes, it went from 1.4 million to, what we're expecting at 2.1 million.
okay, so this is just based on it being the same,
Yes.
okay.
All right.
And you may look and see that the revenue is down under the library fines. That's down quite a bit. We went about 2.5 or 3 months without charging any fines after the tornadoes because we were letting people bring their things back when they could. We were not trying to price gouge there, if you will. And so, that's why that's a good bit lower than what we had expected.
All right.
But you moved it back to the proposed.
Yes,
I'm sorry, to the
yes, to the original.
original.
Yes. Cause I do anticipate that coming next year without having tornadoes, we hope.
Skip.
So our events have gone up.
Yes, they have, this year. That's basically because of one, tenant. The University of Texas at Austin is holding classes for teachers at the, event center. And that's the reason that has gone to that amount this year. I don't know if they'll contract with us next year or not. That's why I left it a little bit lower.
Skip.
Hook 'em.
So is the millage up for renewal this next year?
Yes, sir, it
When
is.
do you plan to do that? What?
That's a good question, and I wish I could give you the answer today, but it's, I'm expecting it's gonna be in November. I would rather it not be in November, but it looks like it's April or November.
There's a May date in it, Courtney?
Is it May?
I'm not sure if there is or not, Richard, I'd have to look in the book.
Yeah, that's
I know the school board's got theirs coming up in April. I
April.
think.
School
Then
boards
we
is May.
definitely want to wait.
The
for
school board's May, I
November.
think. April, presidential preference primary, I think.
Yeah, there's just one, I think, this spring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Pretty sure school board's May.
All right, folks, as you look at the 2020 proposed budget, we'll move into voting. Those in favor of the motion that has been made to approve this proposed budget indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed to the motion indicate by saying nay. The ayes have it, that motion is approved. All right, thank you very much, Vivian. We'll move into item number 5, the Lincoln Parish Police Jury 2019 amended budget first.
Okay, the 2019 proposed amended budget for the Lincoln Parish Police Jury. Each different fund has its own page numbering system. The fund name is in the upper left corner, it is also in the bottom left corner. So the first one, for example, is the general fund, and you can see its title on the top of the first page, and then at the bottom it says general, so that covers.
Holly, let me ask you a question. Anybody need to find their amended 2019 proposed 2020 budget? It's in your packet.
Right.
Anybody need help with that? Okay, just want to be sure you have your material.
Okay. As you go through the general fund budget, under the judicial section, you see where miscellaneous charges were budgeted at $12,000, and they're coming in with an amended budget amount of $26,890. That is all the costs associated with the, sanity hearings. We cannot really control that, that depends upon the judges determining who needs to go to that. That's the primary driver in that number. We're not really anticipating any election expenses, but because there's still one election to go this year, in case something breaks, the police jury is responsible. You know, for example, if the toilets aren't working at one of the polling places, we're responsible for the porta potty, so that's the $500 you see there. Register our voters is in line. Financial and administrative, those costs are in line with where we had been. You'll see an increase in the budget for professional services from $55,000 to $120,000. That line item includes $20,000 paid to the GIS office, $41,000 associated with the audit, $6,000 associated with finder's fees, and approximately $60,000 associated with some engineering charges, primarily with the LCDBG grant on the Arthur Road lift station, where we agreed to pay the engineering services charges so that we could have more points towards earning that grant. So primarily, the financial and administrative is good. The governmental, the general building and plant, those numbers are on track with the original budget. Same with other general administration. On the sheriff, the contract labor for courthouse security, the budget is decreased from 93.6 to 54.8. And the reason for that is we didn't start the program with the guards downstairs and the x-ray machine until July instead of January. Transport of prisoners,
Could I ask a question?
yes.
Sure, I'm sorry.
That is, the 53 is going to be for the full year?
It'll be for full year 2019, because we only had 6 months of operation. 2020 is budgeted back at 94,008.
Okay, so, okay, thank you.
The rest of those line items are pretty good and on track, with where we had original budgets. And when it comes to the revenue, you'll see the original, the budget as amended when we took out the severance tax was $1,986,000 for revenue, and we're now budgeting $2,060,000. So our deficit in that fund has shrunk from $540,000 to $466,000 on the general fund.
All right, questions from anyone? Anyone in the group? Comments?
Where
Sure.
where would, the health agency be funded?
The police jury does not have any direct funding of the health agency.
We went through their budget in the previous committee. They're not funded out of the general fund.
How are they funded?
Grants from the
It's
state
grants.
government,
It's a-
grants from the state government and the federal government that are passed.
Okay,
into
so,
the state.
the jury, I'm trying to get it. Who is responsible for the health agency? In terms of the funding and the money?
Are you saying who is responsible for oversight or who is responsible for funding?
Who is responsible for funding?
Funding comes from the state and federal government. We provide them normally we provide them no financial assistance. Several years ago, we had to inject a little money in there.
Well, see, this past year, I know that it might have been close to this time of the year, you all amended their budget and added some money to it. And I'm trying to find out who's responsible for that money, and while we're doing that, what role does the board play over there?
Generally, the police jury is responsible for fiscal oversight of the agency. They do they're a component agency of the police jury. You know, they operate under their own director, their own funding, but, you know, it's kind of like the library board. You know, they handle the library, but the board approves the budget. Kind of like the Health and Welfare Committee, the advisory board at the health agency could, you know, approve or recommend that budget, which then ultimately has to be submitted to the jury for final approval.
Oh, hold up now. Could approve the budget, that's kind of general. Who actually approves the budget?
Police jury.
Okay, so the board over there is strictly in an advisory capacity.
Basically,
Okay,
They oversee operations.
wait now. If you're gonna be responsible, then how you gonna delegate the authority to them to oversee the operations when the law has you responsible for them over there?
Oversight.
I didn't hear you.
See, we're talking about an oversight, we're talking about an advisory board, and we're talking about who's responsible for the money and the funding and who approves it. And I think either I don't understand or nothing has been put out there for me to understand. I wanted to know who funds the health agency. That was the first question.
Did
And
you get
then-
that answered?
Yes.
Okay,
But I was
all right.
trying to bring him to where I was,
Yeah.
since he asked me. And the other question was, then the board over there is strictly an advisory board. They've got no say-so over what that budget is or nothing else other than talking with each other over there. This body is responsible for that.
Correct.
Okay. Now,
And no fire property that we thought multiplier. And revenues are slightly reduced over prior year primarily because of the decrease in the sales tax. In the park fund, we're coming in about $20,000 higher on expenses than we did last year. Part of that is in improvements in development, where we finished out some campsites, and we're gonna do Entergy's gonna do a switch, power option transformer for the Light of the Pines event. Their revenues in total are above the original budget, but remember they sold $151,000 worth of water this summer when they had the frac job. Courthouse capital, the improvements and development on courthouse capital have to do with primarily the elevator project and the expo. And interest is gonna be forecast to be slightly less than we had anticipated. The bridge replacement and improvement fund, the bridge and culvert material is obviously gonna be decreased, as well as the engineering service, because we're not doing that bridge project, and the transfer in from the road construction fund is also reduced. In the sewer fund, we're pretty much break even. Everything's pretty much on track between revenue and cost. Then you get to a couple of the reserve funds that don't have a lot of activity. Sewer equipment reserve, solid waste disposal reserve, solid waste collection reserve. All of those are reserve funds, and they don't have a lot of activity in them. And in the health unit, we had anticipated spending $18,600, and we're budgeting an amended amount of $16,363, and revenues are slightly higher than they were budgeted for last year, so they're ending up with a small surplus of $7,300. In the hospital proceeds fund, we're not proposing an amendment in expenses, but interest earnings are anticipated to be higher, primarily because they've been calling bonds, and those will be replaced with lower interest.
So I wanted to ask a question about the hospital fund. How much the percentage did we get on the interest?
Get all of the interest
So we get,
on the proceeds that we have invested.
okay, so what do we have into the hospital? How much do we have?
Approximately $10 million.
10 million.
So that's what we sold the hospital?
No,
That's what we got from
what we got.
that's what we got, so we really have more than that.
Well, and we really don't have that. That's held in trust to purchase the hospital back. That was the deal that was made. Unless you go to the voters and they vote to repurpose that for some reason, that's the only way that principal of $10 million can be touched.
We can't touch it.
I understand about we can't, but we really have more than the 10 million if you're getting interest on that money and you're not using all of that interest. So that means that you got a surplus of interest, and that's added onto that $10 billion.
No. The interest come in. It don't add on top of the 10.
Don't we spend all the interest every year?
We spend the interest.
The interest don't add on top of the 10 million. It don't go back to it.
It would if you weren't spending it, but
Well,
we're
we're
spending.
spending.
We not, okay.
In
I'm looking.
2019, we're not spending all of we're not proposing to spend all of the interest, but in years past, I believe the majority of the interest has been spent.
But this time, we're gonna have $156,000 of interest that's left over from what we had already, we got.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so that's going to be added, where is it going?
No, we may spend it on the general fund. We don't know yet.
No, I don't feel like we need to
Okay.
use
You
that.
can't, you can only spend it on health-related things.
Yeah, I know, so where is the money going?
We don't know yet. It's in the bank.
Wherever the jury determines it needs to go. I mean,
We haven't made a determination.
Oh, okay.
that's the way it was originally done.
Yeah, it's in the bank. You trying to see, have it been dedicated?
Yes.
No.
So it's just out there.
It just,
Well, it's in the bank.
yeah.
I understand it's in
Okay.
the bank, I'm just saying it's really out there, we have not dedicated it anywhere.
No.
So you can just spend it wherever you want to
No.
spend it.
No,
You have to
That's what
spend
I'm
it.
asking, that.
the only place you can spend it is on, it's bridge replacement, correct?
I don't see why we should be able to,
Our health,
Or health.
that's the only place.
It's
You
the
said
money
what now?
from bridges or health.
so why would we, spend it on bridges?
That was
Because
the-
that's not a health issue.
That was
That's-
the original
That's
decision.
the
that they-
original draft.
That's just what the law says.
That's it, that, when the people voted on it, that's one of the things that they like to vote on. Yeah, it's in the.
Well, I'm glad that you explained that to me, because I couldn't understand why,
Yeah.
the bridges,
Was that's part of the original.
because that's not a health issue.
Right, it was part of the original. They had two choices, they chose both choices for the money to go.
Okay, so right now, we not doing anything with the bridges, cause we all kept.
Yeah, but in years past, they'd never done anything with it either. They let it pile up till they had enough to replace a bridge. And then several years ago, we dipped into it for the Four Paws money, or said we were gonna do the Four Paws money. And we also, didn't we fund part of the coroner stuff? Or the coroner went to a training deal one year, and I think we took some money out of there to pay for that. They took, the coroner went to 2 training courses in Memphis or somewhere, or Knoxville, and we took the money out of those proceeds, because that's
Health
health related.
Okay?
The library bond sinking fund, that bond pays off in March of 2021, so that's on track. And then we have the Complex 2 fund. Historically, that fund has been used to pay down the note on the old county market building, which that note paid off this year. But we're proposing that we continue to take the rents from the tenants and the cost of operation, the maintenance of that building, and continue to leave it isolated in its own fund here. But that would give us excess monies in 2020 that we could use in the general fund if needed,
Or to do repairs.
or to do repairs on the complex too. Yes,
We're talking about across the street, huh?
yes,
Yeah,
like the old
okay.
county market building. Yeah. Then you have the Section 8 housing fund, which has had, which is pretty much a pass-through, as is the FSSS road. If you have any questions, I'll attempt to answer them.
We have a motion and a second to discuss these.
Motion.
Questions, comments on this 2019 proposed amended budget? Anybody have any questions or comments?
Somebody is not.
I got a question.
Okay, good.
And I'm just hearing the excess of 150 can only be spent on.
Yeah, 156.
Yeah, healthcare, bridges. What out of the general fund do we fund healthcare, bridges, and that kind of stuff?
Out of the general fund, we don't fund any money to bridges,
Or healthcare, anything?
except for employee healthcare. I don't think there's any funds that go to any healthcare enterprises.
Okay.
But I'm still really confused about this 156. I know we have it in the bank.
It goes to the fund balance.
Huh?
Goes to the fund.
Fund balance.
So it's going back to the general fund?
No, it stays in the hospital proceeds fund balance. That way if
So
something.
we would be steady drawing interest on that money once you put it.
Correct.
Yes, correct. It's just sitting there, if we need the money, it got a balance in there, we can put it out
And just use it for,
for those items,
That we discussed.
health,
Just the.
and bridges. In
Sure.
prior years, the money was doing like this. When we got enough in there, we said, oh, we need a bridge over here, we got enough now, let's get it. But it never came all in one year, the excess.
We let it add up.
It added up over years, then we use it to replace the bridge.
But it never goes back to the 10 million.
The 10 million is what generating the interest. And we can use it for health or for the bridges, according to the statute. So it's in there, and it'll be there till we get ready to, what, build a bridge or replace a bridge or.
Or if it's something that comes up with the help, like Fort Paul's again, and they ask for increase. Because we voted to have that
Or
out of
I'll
the
go
general
back
fund.
to general fund.
Went back to general fund. Okay, folks,
Okay.
time is going to run out. Any questions or any comments about the 2019 proposed amended budget? If not, we'll move into the voting. Those in favor of approving the proposed amended budget indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Committee members. Those opposed indicate by saying nay. The ayes have it, that motion is passed. Now, let's go to the 2020 proposed budget.
Okay, one of the things that we've done with the 2020 proposed budget that will affect the general fund, the highway funds, and the solid waste funds, is we looked at where the administrative staff spends their time, make sure that we're properly allocating dollars to those other funds for the support services. So for example, Chelsea keeps track of and enters all of the landfill tickets and sends the statements and bills out to the customers at the end of the month. We looked at the cost of those services to charge those dollars back to the solid waste fund. That is an allocation that has not been reallocated in probably, I think, between 5 and 10 years or longer. We also looked at the administrative fees that we charge to the fire district, to the library, to the GIS and the communications district for the services that we provide for them as well, and did the same thing and increased their administrative fee. You'll see this when you look at the budget by a decrease in salaries under financial administrative on the first page of $175,000. That $175,000 has been reallocated to the fund for road construction, road maintenance, solid waste disposal and collection.
So where are you now?
At the very bottom of the first page where it says salaries and wages under financial and administrative. Keep on
So
down.
what you're discussing now was in today's paper, that's.
So we
Yes.
went all the way down from Nancy.
Look, right over in the right corner.
It went
Yeah,
from
okay.
Down $175,000.
bridge one.
Okay, so what about this up here?
Solid waste collection or just?
If we didn't, we didn't,
The legislative is the juror salaries and associated payroll taxes.
okay, so I'm concerned about this travel and training up here.
Okay.
You left it at the same, and it needs to be, I think that we need to discuss it, and maybe we need to discuss it next month, since we are running out of time. But it needs to be re-looked at about the travel and training, because we have been some new rules on, so that we don't need to look at it.
Courtney and I discussed the travel and training budget, and we agree that the new jurors are probably gonna be interested in attending the state convention, which this year is in Shreveport. If they choose to stay, the cost would be approximately $700 a juror. If they choose to commute back and forth, the cost would be approximately $500 per juror to go to that conference, including registration fees. We felt like the way the process has worked in the past, which is getting the travel approved by the other jury members, and anything that's over $10,000 being paid by the governments to do the travel. I had operated well in the past, but if the jury wants to change that number, then we can look at the president.
So that would, you said, we'll look at it tonight, we'll look at it later.
So that's a decision that the jury will have to make.
I'll say that again, about everything over 10,000, what?
My understanding is that in the past, if we had costs that were significantly over $10,000 in total for travel, that the jurors that were taking those trips were paying those costs out of pocket.
Have we ever gone over that budget?
We
No,
spent
it-
$11,000 this year.
It has been reduced.
report has been reviewed.
Yeah, it had been reduced, cause it was not $10,000 until a couple of
It
years
used to be
ago.
12.
Huh?
It was 12 like 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, and it might have been a little bit more than that before this, I don't know.
I don't think it was ever more than that.
But I know it was.
That is the
it
general
was
policy.
reduced.
That is the general policy, that once the budget limit is reached, then it's, comes out of everybody's pocket equally.
Well, Joe, you've been here longer than me.
I guess my question is, say if the budget, say if the amount is spent at state convention, 10,000, and then you get ready to go to the national. They pay all that out of their pocket for
Unless
this?
they come back to the jury and ask the jury to
Amend the
amend the budget.
budget.
Support that trial.
Which we did.
We can amend it.
But that's what we've always amended it, right? I mean, let me ask a question another way. Have a juror ever paid out of their pocket and didn't get reimbursed? That's the question.
I
And
think
it's not about registration.
But I think that has happened, to be honest. I mean, we don't have the treasurer here that was, here at the time when that would have happened, but I think I do recall that there has been some out-of-pocket expense.
Well, when did we change, not when, but what committee changed that? When we,
Finance.
paying out of
Finance.
finance?
Several years ago.
Probably almost 9 years ago.
Maybe
Three.
I'll say 10.
about 10 years ago.
Years ago.
It's been about 10
Yeah,
years.
he's spreading it out both of them.
But I never known a juror to have to pay out of their pocket. That's what caught me when you said that. Cause we always go back and amend if we needed to, if it was override.
Usually you would, if, there would be some jurors who might just eat whatever, I'm not saying anything about it to this body.
There may be some jurors that are going to the state convention and not charging their
Expense slips.
So they're paying out of pocket.
Or they're told that they've reached the budget limit and this is all they're gonna get back, and they accepted that and not brought it back.
Guys, I don't mean to rush you, but could we discuss this in an amendment situation in time, John, like next month or whenever? We're gonna run really short of
So
time.
we're not going to approve this,
Well, there's been no,
Remember, you can amend the budget at
You
any
can
time.
amend the budget,
yeah,
but we can amend the budget.
Even with the reallocation of wages that we did and the increase in the administrative fees, if you look at page 5 of the general fund budget, you'll see that we're still running a deficit of $127,000, and that's because we're still anticipating that we will not have severance tax for oil and gas next year. So, the deficit has been reduced, but we're still running in the red.
we've tightened our belts and we've made some changes, and our budget has been reduced, our loss has been reduced significantly, down to $127,810 under the 2020 proposed budget.
And you can see the expenses there on the total general fund budget on page 5 are reduced $333,000 year over year.
All right, let's keep going.
In the special road fund, we're budgeting revenues to hold flat, and the costs for the expenditures associated with those special roads to be at $70,000 decrease of three, so they give a total of $342,000. The road construction, this is one of the places where you see an increase in your salaries and wages as a result of that reallocation. And the, road construction fund is running at a deficit of $1,005,000 in the budget. The road maintenance fund is running at a slight surplus of $3,000. Solid waste disposal fund, we've got revenues relatively steady, and costs are relatively steady, even with an increase in the allocation from the administrative office, primarily because of a reduction in contract labor costs associated with the added work from the tornado. budgeted to have a slight surplus of $170,000. That surplus is primarily driven from landfill fees and sale of recyclables. Any excess of sales tax collected over operational costs, excuse me, is distributed to the municipalities within the parish. Sorry, I have a frog in my throat. The solid waste collection fund is forecasted to be a small surplus of $100,000. Park and recreation is including the build out of 3 campsites next year in their improvement and development that will complete the build out and the improvement of all of the lakefront campsites. And that puts them at a deficit of $68,000. They are budgeted to receive $162,000 from the hotel motel tax refund that comes from the CBB. And that is the last year under the agreement that we'll receive that money, although we're working to get that changed to some additional funding to come through from them in the future. Courthouse capital, we budgeted $100,000 in case there's repairs or maintenance needed in this building. Your bridges and your bridge replacement and road improvements. You see the budget's $1,478,000, and that's because we had a bridge project from this year into next. And revenue is the transfer that comes from the road construction fund. In the sewer fund, you can see they're at break even at $300 surplus. And then you get into your reserve accounts, and there's no major changes in the budget for any of those reserve accounts.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Make a motion that we approve the 2020 proposed budget.
Second.
We have a motion second. Do we have further questions? Further comments? Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Those opposed to the motion indicate by saying nay. Ayes have it, the motion is approved. Now we'll go back to our agenda. And is there any other business? Meeting is adjourned.